At Landstar, you have to do inspections 3 times as often. I'm not doing 120-day inspection. If you're not factoring, that's definitely not enough. You've got to have enough to float your revenue that you generate for an entire month. Invoicing customers is different. The rate cons are a little different. Like, he came out from behind one side of the dumpster as I was, passing the dumpster. It looks like a payday loan. It's real bad. Don't talk to anybody at Landstar. Just don't speak to them on the phone. Don't call them. Don't answer your phone. She gave me that piece of advice. Or she said, if I would have known, you shouldn't have talked to anybody.
Turn right onto Dynasty Drive.
I don't know why she's telling me to take a right. This pump here is running so slow, so I figured I'd show you all this load we got. Nothing too exciting, just some tanks. Got a forklift. And this was really the issue. I spent quite a bit of time trying to figure out how to get that excess tarp, because I got these in like a checkerboard pattern back here. I don't know, I'm not good at tarping. Oh, we made it up to this TA in South Dallas on 20. This is the one where we thought that driver was the one that was passed out in his truck. I was like, so I'm on the back row right here. Like, I'm backed up where the back of my trailer's kind of facing that truck wash. And to the left, I can see where where I was parked several years ago. I probably won't be back here for another 6 years or a long time. They've got massive craters. They're changing up their, like, used to, you'd come in, there's like a guard shack type thing, and you'd get a ticket, and then I don't remember if you'd have to go in and like pay some money to get a ticket to X. I don't know. There was some way that everybody had to pay to be in this lot. But so they got rid of that, and they're putting up some new, I don't know, like new digital electronic guard shack thing, but there's no guard shack there, and it's all like, it's kind of under construction right now. So I talked to a couple drivers around here, and everybody assumed like the parking was just free right now while they're getting this done. But so we all assume it's free. I go in, and you walk past the fuel desk as you're going to the main store, and I just asked, and I was like, hey, so no charge for parking right now? And they're like, yeah, it's all free, or they're doing construction on that. And I started to walk away. He's like, oh, except for if you're on the perimeter of the lot. I'm like, wait, what do you mean? And he said, all the spaces in the perimeter are all reserved parking. The place where I'm at, this entire row doesn't have any reserved parking signs along here anywhere. There's no reserved parking signs along the backside. To my knowledge, there's none on the other side either. And I was like, you just told me it's all free, and now you're saying just the spots in the middle are free. That's a lot of spaces that are not free. And they're not even marked as being like reserved. So I was like, are they really going to try to charge people for parking here or not? So I left, and then I passed one of the guys that I had talked to, and he said there was already a security guard, and this was like before 5 o'clock. There was already a security guard going around like telling truckers that these were paid spots. So they don't have them labeled. They're under construction. They've got a crater that you could, I guess your oil pan is kind of protected, but I mean, these craters are massive in this lot. Like, that's what's so irritating. That's why I don't go to TAs very much. That's why I stay at Love's. That's why everybody should stop going to TAs until they clean up their act. Like, this is ridiculous. They're charging all this money for parking. I'm fine with paid parking. Like, I appreciate paid parking. Whenever there's a high demand for parking and you're coming in somewhere late at night, I mean, the fact that they have those paid parking spaces keeps people from parking there, and it leaves availability. So I like having availability whenever I get held up and I need to come in somewhere late at night. I like that. But can you spend a few dollars on a little bit of gravel and stuff to fill in these massive potholes so people don't feel like their entire truck's just going to fall apart as they're driving through your parking lot? And I mean, these are so big. I mean, you'll do damage to your truck. You'll do damage to your truck, and they can't spend $1 on, you know, a little concrete and gravel and stuff, but they can spend whatever they need to get rid of their human guard and replace it with some artificial intelligence, you know, paid parking system. So I like that BP took over TA and Petro. I think they've done a terrible job with these truck stops for years, and I'm hoping BP does a better job. So far, they have done a better job at some locations. They're making some improvements, but the TA in South Dallas, they're dragging their feet a little bit. I'll say that. They are dragging their feet. They're not putting a lot of money into it. But it's 6:10. We got about probably, this place doesn't open till 8. It says we're 45 minutes away. I think we're going to take off at 7. So that's going to be bad traffic. And I mean, I don't expect we'll get there early, leaving it at 7. I think we'll probably get there right on time or a little bit late. But I only saw one crackhead in the parking lot this time. I was going back into the truck stop to grab like a Dr. Pepper, and so if you've been to this truck stop, you know there's a dumpster over there, and then you got these little walking paths. I was coming around the dumpster, and this this guy just appeared in front of my face, like instantly. It seemed like before I could even register there was a human in front of me, he was already selling me 2 Apple Watches and a HP laptop. I mean, he wasn't just selling them to me. He had a whole story about how they overloaded his trailer in Arkansas and all this stuff, but he was moving pretty quick, and I don't know, by the time I ran into him around the dumpster area. Like, he came out from behind one side of the dumpster as I was, passing the dumpster. And so from that point, I didn't take any detours. I just went down that little walkway path they've got right across in front of the fuel lanes and then into the store. Maybe, 60-second walk or less. And then one lady stopped me and asked where she could find the Pizza Hut at. So I told her where Pizza Hut was. I guess I look like a guy that knows where pizza's at. But I mean, that was like 2 seconds, and then I went and I was just in the main store area, and by the time I got there, that guy that I met at the dumpsters, he had already made his way around the outside of the building, and At the dumpsters, he actually showed them to me. I probably missed out on a great deal because these were, I mean, they look brand new in the box. Like there's 2 Apple Watches in the box and some kind of laptop. He said it was an HP laptop. I think I probably missed out on a great opportunity. But when he came in the front door where the 4-wheelers would, you know, those people would come in at. And he had cash with him and he was buying cigarettes. I mean, so within like a 2-minute, I'd say maybe 4 minutes, because I was, you know, just kind of wandering around looking at stuff in the truck stop. But he had moved them things pretty quick, and then I saw him again. I ran. He's either a crackhead or he's a criminal mastermind, like running a sophisticated crime ring, because when I came back out, he wasn't behind the dumpsters. He was like 50, maybe 70 feet away from the dumpsters. He was actually selling products. He had a line. He had 2 customers in line. He was at what looked like probably a $100,000 GMC Denali pickup truck, and he's selling shit out of the back of it, like out of the back doors. And he had 2 people lined up that were buying shit from him. So I think he might have been like a pretend crackhead that was just, you know, that might have been his little spiel to hook people. Yeah, so ran into him. That was interesting. And other than that, not a whole lot. I got contacted by the FMCS, or actually I got contacted by the Texas DPS about my new entrant safety audit. So they sent me 2 or 3 different emails. I talked to them on the phone twice. I think I'm probably not going to put that in this video anywhere, but I do think I'll make a separate like video just of how a new entrant safety audit works, because I think some people might find that valuable to, you know, kind of, because I would find it valuable. I don't know how it works. I'm kind of figuring it out right now. I mean, the people I talk to, at least in the Texas, you know, I'm talking to people from Texas, they seem like it wasn't really going to be all that big of a deal. They seem like they want you to pass, and even if you fail, they would just want you to get stuff corrected. But I think I'll probably make a video of that and post it. I don't know that I want to post. I might do a different channel. I feel like that's kind of boring paperwork stuff that I don't think the same people that want to watch like trucks driving down the road and trucks getting loaded and unloaded and all this kind of stuff are the same. I'm not sure those are the same people that want to watch an FMCSA video and like boring paperwork type stuff. But I mean, that's part of, you know, that's part of the business, dealing with regulations and whatnot. So I may do a different channel and just kind of, if something comes up that's like really, I know probably a lot of people get bored just with the driving and stuff. I mean, trucking's kind of boring, but the FMCSA stuff is real boring. It'll put anybody to sleep. I mean, so, but we'll see. Let me know in the comments if you like, if FMCSA regulations are like of any interest to you, or like yeah, let me know if that kind of stuff would be valuable or interesting. I mean, I know it would be valuable for somebody because it would have been, I mean, I would have liked to seen that stuff before I got my authority. Most of the stuff I can tell you, like if you're an owner operator and you're leased on somewhere and you're thinking about getting your authority, I can just tell you it's easier than whatever you imagine it being. It's not as bad as you think. It's easier. The only thing that's been worse so far, well, the insurance is more expensive. That's one thing that's worse. The insurance is bad. And, well, I mean, it's kind of individual and everybody's situation is different, but money-wise, like how much cash you need on hand, that's different, but you can kind of fix that with factoring. I'm not using factoring right now. I ran out of money. I had to steal money from my personal accounts and put it in the business to try to get by the, not this last month, but the month before. Well, no, I guess that was like 3 months ago. It was like when I was, let's see, December, November, October, September. Yeah, so this was back in like October, September, October time frame. So I'd just gotten started and having to float revenue, and you're basically giving a loan to the brokers. So this is one of the guys I talked to. He's a brand new driver, Western Express driver. I don't think he's ever paid for parking anywhere before. So he said it was his first time here, and I don't know. Kind of got the feeling it was his first time at any truck stop. But he was a nice guy. I kind of lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah, so on the money side of things, it's like not using factoring. Like whenever I was just leased on at Landstar, I got paid weekly, and so I would always, like, my minimum amount I would have for maintenance, like just cash on hand, was like 25 grand. And I mean, that wouldn't always be in cash. I try to keep as little cash as possible. I mean, a lot of, like maybe 10 or 15 of that would be, but probably 10 of that would be in like short-term bonds and stuff, just to try to generate some little bit of return on the cash. But it's still, you know, the money's not going anywhere. You're safe, your safety net money type of thing. You know, the minimum I would always keep is 25. I would try not to ever have less than that. But now, if you're not factoring, that's definitely not enough. You've got to have enough to float your revenue that you generate for an entire month. So if you just add on, and maybe your number's not 25 for maintenance, maybe it's less or more, but just whatever you're comfortable with for maintenance, just know you need to factor in how much revenue your truck's bringing in a month, and just add that on top of your maintenance fund, and that'll be how much cash you need, because you've got to extend a line of credit to these brokers, basically, and they're extending a line of credit to the shippers, I guess. But so you're floating your revenue for a while. For 30 days is what most of them are. But so you'll be spending all the money that you would normally spend on fuel, I don't have any payments or anything, but if you got truck or trailer payments, you got to spend all that money. You got to spend all the money on insurance. You got to pay for all the repairs. You've got to do all the work, and then not get paid that money for 30 days or so. And a lot of brokers I've had to call, like, I'm always talking to their accounts payable, because I guess when they say 30 days, they mean they put the check in the mail in 30 days, and not, we're going to get you the check in about 30 days. Like, so I always call them, email them. I always start with an email, but that's pretty aggravating. So normally, I guess it's not 30 days, it's more like 35 days. And then some of them, I've had one that's like 50 days, I think. No apologies about it or anything. They just making excuses, and I don't know. But they eventually paid it. So that is a big difference, paying for your insurance. My insurance is 25, or no, it's 24 grand. I told them I would give them access to my ELD data, and they knocked like, I don't know, $900 or $1,000 off. So I think it's 23. So the original quote was 24. After I told them they could look into my ELD, it was around 23,000 for the year. So about $2 grand a month. That's more for insurance. If you're leased on, it might be a different situation than that. You might not be paying it, or you could be. I mean, if it's a smaller carrier, like if I was going to lease on an owner operator, I don't know, the insurance thing would be, you have to do some math to figure out what would make sense for insurance. And it would just depend. I mean, I would never lease anybody on at 24,000. If a second truck was 24,000, I mean, I'm expecting this truck the insurance to get cut in half next year. If this truck's still 24 or 23,000, I'm shopping insurance. That's for sure. I mean, I'll be shopping insurance anyways, but so that's a difference. But if you factor, the money stuff isn't really an issue, but you got to give away, 2 to 5%. I think most of them are between 2 and 4. Or you got the quick pay too, but that's the same deal. It's really like a payday loan kind of thing. I mean, there's almost no risk to them. It's just a difference of time for the same amount of cash, but they're skimming some money off the top. If you measure a 3% and you annualize that, it looks like a payday loan. It's real bad, because they're only advancing you the money. Like if they do, let's just say it's same day quick pay. So they're giving you the money that you would get anyways, but they're just doing it like 29 days earlier or 30 days earlier. That's a very short-term loan. Very short-term. But they're taking 3%. Well, if you annualize that, I mean, not factored in like any compounding or anything like that, but just simple math, like that's like 36% interest. 36% interest that you're losing. I mean, that's a really high rate. Whoever's in the business of factoring has got a good business model. I guess that's the banks. So that's a pretty good business model. But I'm not factoring. If I added trucks, I might could add one more truck without factoring. I mean, if I wanted to add trucks, I'd probably have to factor eventually, because you can't float. It's hard to float. You need to have, I'd say if you wanted to have 4 trucks, like leased on owner operators or I mean, it doesn't really matter what kind of trucks they are. If you're floating that revenue that's supposed to be coming in and paying the drivers out and all that stuff, so you're paying the drivers before you get paid, like way before you get paid. I could do that for probably one more truck other than myself right now, maybe 2, but definitely not more than 2 additional trucks. You'd have to have some cash in the bank to take care of that. But other than that, it's all, I mean, it's better than, I mean, Landstar, like, got paid in a week, and they're kind of your factoring company there. They take care of the insurance, but they charge, that's all factored into their cost of how much money they're pulling out of your pocket. And you do pay your own insurance at Landstar. I mean, you pay for your physical damage and under and uninsured motorist, that kind of stuff. So you still got a pretty good sized bill that you got to pay to Landstar through your settlement every week. Trying to think about what else is a difference. Well, the big benefit is like at Landstar you have to do inspections three times as often. Three times as often. Like 120-day inspections. I'm not doing 120-day inspections. My compliance department is a lot more reasonable than that. We do 365-day inspections. We do the bare minimum that the government requires of us. So that's how we operate. I mean, with a layer of common sense that just kind of sits above that level. And if you can pass through the common sense filter, and we're good with it, then we just want to do the bare minimum to get by. As far as government regulations go. Well, and then sending in. So one other thing I had a question about before I was forced into this authority thing. I'd been thinking about it for years. I was thinking about it when I first leased on with Landstar when I was a company driver, but I kind of looked around and thought about it, and that one thing that is quick and easy, and I was a little hesitant about how much time it was going to take, was so at Landstar, you get your bill of lading signed, you snap a picture, you transflow it in, that's done real quick, and you get paid within the next 7 days on that load, all the loads you do. So with your own numbers, you've got to have a contract with every broker that you work with. So that is different. It's more work. I just set up a little system, like a spreadsheet that where I can put customer information in. I use like some lookup tables where one sheet on a spreadsheet can like pull information from another, and so I can put customer information in one place, and it can input it into, like, it'll auto generate like an invoice real quick, and I don't have to type in customer information, emails, addresses, all that stuff multiple times. I put it in once, it gets copied to all the other spreadsheets it needs to get copied to, and then my invoice, I've got a little drop down list, and I just click on the broker, click on the load number, and it fills in all the details about the load automatically. But so invoicing customers is different, and doing the rate cons are a little different. And just doing the carrier packets. So the carrier packets, a lot of them use this thing called Highway now. It's just some like centralized, I don't know, they say it's for fraud prevention, like it's supposed to help prevent, I don't know, fake carriers from showing up and just stealing freight, or all the different ways that there's fraud in the industry. It's supposed to help with that. But highways, I've seen a lot of complaints about Highway on the trucker forum thing, but I understand why. They want all your information, and they want access to your ELD. So all the privacy concerns, those are real. Those are definitely real. But I use Highway, and in my experience, the only issue I've had with it is, it makes things fast to sign up and do the carrier packets, because once you've got your information in there once, you're just literally clicking through a few buttons and it's all done. But and you do have to, like, I keep private relay. It's like a VPN on the iPhones, so that's turned on. every time I go on the highway, it says we don't allow VPNs to access this part of the site or something. So I just got to go and click private relay turned off for the next 24 hours on the phone, and then it lets me through and I do it. So that, but some brokers you'll get, like, they won't use highway, but you'll have to fill out by hand. So it'd be helpful if you're pretty familiar, like using Adobe, like fill and sign, or just doing signatures and initials on PDF documents on your phone, and then emailing those to people. Like, you need to have, if you don't know how to do that stuff, you're going to have a tough time. It's going to take you a lot longer because you're going to be trying to print stuff out and sign it and send it back around. Like, figure out how to sign stuff on the phone and just save it and then email it like instantly, like back to whoever sent it to you. Like, you can do it. Adobe Fill and Sign is integrated with the normal Adobe thing. It's free on, I think, all phones. But I use that, plus, I don't know, I use a third-party email system that doesn't allow, they want me to pay for the ability to sign something in the email and just reply right back. So anytime I gotta just do a signature, I'll use Apple's the Apple email system, because in that, you can just click something, add your signature to it, and hit, once you just try to leave the page and it asks you reply, and you just say yes, reply, and it shoots an email with the same PDF they sent you, but with your signature added to it. So if you don't know how to sign stuff electronically like that, you're probably going to get kind of frustrated and overwhelmed with all the paperwork, because you do have to do a lot of forms and signatures and stuff like that. So if you're younger, I mean, if you're 40 years or younger, like I'm 40, I think, or 41, 40, I hope I'm still 40. If you're under 40, like, you should have no problems with it. If you're over 60, well, you probably already got life figured out. You're probably not watching this video right now. So I don't think you're wanting advice from a 40-year-old trucker about his operating authority. So and I'm not really trying to give advice. I'm just suggesting things based on my own experience. So overall, and another thing about the authority stuff. So I looked into it several years ago when I was with Landstar, and my plan at the time was I think I was gonna give OIDA a little money to, like, get my authority set up. Don't do anything like that. Just do it yourself. You're gonna have to do everything that you have to do to get the authority. Like, you're gonna need to do all those same things and use all those same web pages and forms and everything when you have your authority. It's not difficult. It's government forms. It is what it is. But you're not doing yourself any favors by paying somebody to do it whenever you're just going to have to do those same things anyways once you have your authority. So just do it yourself. Take some time, read through some government pages and figure it out. I might do a video of how to do it. It's really not hard. You get your DOT number in like a day or less. And then you're in. I heard they're getting rid of MC numbers. They're not going to use those anymore, but your MC will be active like 21 days later, unless somebody protests you. So don't tell anybody that you don't like you're signing up, because then they can go in there and protest you and cause you problems. I think I got a load. I booked one load through email one time before. I saw this load pop up. It was close to 3, and I was like, I should probably call, but it was like 9 o'clock. I don't want to bother a broker at 9 o'clock at night. So I sent him an email, and he responded back like 15 minutes later. He said it's available, and it was like $281 a mile. Some roofing material. I told him my authority is like 140 days old. If you're good with that, I'm good with the posted rate you've got it at. And then he emailed me a link to Highway. I'd already fallen asleep though, so I didn't see that until like 3 o'clock this morning. So I did the Highway thing, and then I emailed him back and said Highway rejected me. Highway rejected me. Highway always, I mean, a lot of these people, they'll reject you because you're authority age, but then you just ask them to bypass that. A lot of them just bypass it. Some of them ask for references. Some of them just say, you sound like a trustworthy person. Some of them will say, yeah, you don't sound like you're going to steal all of our freight, and they'll just let you do it. But they'll have to go in and manually like bypass stuff. So ask them if they're flexible on that kind of stuff. Don't take a no. Don't assume a no is a no. Assume a no is a. You just need to ask some other question and like keep trying a little bit. Because if you've already spent the time to talk to the broker and you know the details about the load and you want the load, I mean, it's better just to. You're better off trying to get that same load and just see if there's a higher up that can give the approval to, you know, do that. Or I had one of them just wanted me to send like a picture of the side of my truck with like the MC and the DOT number on it. So it could be that simple. You could just send them a quick picture. You could send them, one of them wanted references. I sent them a list of like 3 references of brokers I'd worked with before. I've actually done that 3 or 4 times. So, and then some of them are just, they just don't do it. They just they won't work with you. Yeah, it was, I mean, it was $281 a mile for some roofing stuff. I don't know if I got the load or not. I mean, this was pretty late at night. I don't think he's had anyone else email him at like 3 in the morning. So if he sees my email first thing, then we'll probably get that. It's picking up in Gainesville, going up to Topeka, Kansas. So that's the reason it's 280 a mile, because it's just not going very far. It's only a $1,200 gross revenue load, so they can't get much lower than that. I don't think you could really crank your truck up for $1,000. I mean, most people won't. They're not looking at anything under $1,000. It doesn't make sense. I've tried to do short hops before, because I mean, you can see some really high rate per miles that looks attractive, and if everything goes good, you know, at shippers and receivers, you get in and out, I mean, things could be good. But when I tried it, I've never done it with flatbed before. I did it when I was driving. I tried some shorter loads and just tried to do like 5 loads in a week instead of, normally I'll do 2 loads a week is my normal, and then if things go well, I can get 3 loads in a week. You know, I don't really push too hard. I know how much I want to make, and I try to make that. Been falling short for the past 3 years. Since 2020, 2021, 22 were like the greatest trucking markets in the history of the United States, because they were flooding the market with, you know, federal spread money. So all that money had to find a place to go. And but then they shut off the spigots, and I think it was probably a buddy of mine was trucking, and he said he was seeing it early in 23, I was at Landstar, and we had, contract freight that probably extended out the time, so our prices were kind of levitating above the market a little bit because of the contract nature of it. But so I didn't really see it start turning south until after the second quarter of 23, and it went down pretty quick after that. My income got cut in half from 22 to 23. I took a 50% pay cut. And then in 24, I was begging for that 50% pay cut because I took a loss. I took a loss and I quit. I was only 6, I was like 5, a little over, I was 5 months in, say, into May. All sorts of crazy crap going on. Family stuff, like sick family members. I was like, I'd get out on the road, and then my grandfather was he was getting bad pretty quick, and so I'd have to come right back home, and then things would kind of stabilize. I'd get out on the road. I couldn't get into any rhythm. I couldn't make any money, really. And then I had issues with an inspection. I was already, like, just based on how the market was going, like, I already had one leg out the door anyways. I was looking at doing something else. So I had an inspection go bad with Landstar, and just I said, "Yep, this is it. They're gonna cancel my lease because I'm about to drive halfway across the country on a failed inspection." It just didn't make sense. It didn't make any sense at all. The situation, So if you're a company driver, you think following the rules. Once you own a truck, like, you can't follow the rules all the time. You just gotta know. I mean, you gotta have common sense and know when to break the rules. And there's certain, and it's not like certain people follow the rules and certain people are bad people and they break the rules. Everybody breaks the rules. 100% of people. It's just a matter of, where along that line is where along the spectrum is their line in the sand where they say, all right, the best decision is to break the law. And and this situation with Landstar was way so far over my line. I knew it instantly. I didn't even park at the truck stop. I literally went to the fuel island when I pulled out of there. I went to the fuel island and just took off. I was like, well, that's it. That's it. It was so crazy. Like, I'd failed an inspection at a place. I was actually at the TA, and it was the Iowa 80. I was at that TA, and they failed me for something they couldn't even fix. They failed me for something they couldn't fix, and they failed me for something they couldn't show me was broken. So I was pissed off for multiple reasons. Like, they failed me for a fuel leak in one of my fuel tanks, but they could not show me the fuel leak. They showed me fuel that was on the ground underneath my tank. And I said, well, is it dripping? And we sat there for 5 minutes watching this thing. He's like, no, but obviously it was, because that's where that came from. It was where it came from. I knew that's where it came from, because I'd had the same fuel leak since I bought the truck. It was a pinhole leak in the top of my driver's side tank. So I always ran the tanks like, you know, half to 3/4 full was the most I'd ever put in them. Nothing would leak. But when fuel's sloshing around in there, every now it would run up to that little pinhole leak. It was behind a strap. You couldn't like patch it without dropping the tank and messing with it. And by the time you do that, you just might as well put new fuel tanks on. That's what I ended up doing. But yeah, it was a microscopic leak, so small we couldn't even watch it drip. We couldn't watch a single drip come out of it. And they felled me for it, and I'm like, where? Like, and then I was like, well, all right, let's just, I knew what fuel tanks cost, so let's get some fuel tanks in here and let's just do it. There was also like a brake chamber or wheel seal, something on the trailer needed done, nothing major. So I told him, let's just take care of it. Whatever it needed, let's just get it done. And he's like, we can't do it. I'm like, what do you mean we can't do it? He said, we can't do the fuel tanks. I'm like, well, I'll just order one. I mean, and I expected them to have fuel tanks there, you know? Like, this is the Iowa 80 here. I thought they just have them in the back. But, so I offered to order one, get one shipped in. They're like, no, we're not capable of doing that job. I'm like, well, that's not good at all. Like, if you're not able to do the job, you shouldn't be able to do the inspection on that, you know, on that part. So I was gonna, so I hadn't decided to take off just yet, but I called, so the Peterbilt, I was gonna have to have the truck towed to Peterbilt. And it's like close, it's like a mile or two, but you know, you gotta have the truck towed because it's got a leak that we can't see here. So I called Peterbilt and told them I needed to get a fuel tank put on, and they told me the fuel tank was going to cost $8,000 just for the tank. And I was like, no, I don't know anybody that's paying that price for tanks. Like even the dumbest person in the world wouldn't pay $8,000 for a fuel tank. Because I mean, no, not doing it. I'd already looked. I mean, these tanks for my truck were like between $1,000. Even if you wanted like the premium polished, like extra special tanks, they were $1,500 tops. That's the highest price I saw was $1,500. So I was like, no, we're not doing that. And that wasn't even labor. That didn't even include labor. So adding in Peterbilt's extra special labor charge, and I had the stuff on the trailer. I had like something else minor, like an exhaust clamp that needed to be replaced, something like that. But yeah, I wasn't gonna hang around and find out, like, because I knew what I could get them done for in Texas, like, and the market was terrible. I just like, that's my line in the sand. I'm leaving. So yeah, if you're at Landstar and you're in that situation, I will say there's one thing you can do: don't talk to anybody at Landstar. Just don't speak to them on the phone. Don't call them. Don't answer your phone. Lady there I've talked to, just she gave me that piece of advice, or she said, if I would have known, you know, you shouldn't have talked to anybody. Because I mean, I'd been there for a while. I mean, I knew how everything worked, and I paid them a whole lot of money, so it's not like they wanted to get rid of me. And they didn't get rid of me. I drove all the way back to Texas, and they just asked for the invoice. They're like, we just need to see the repair invoice. And so I drove it straight to the shop, and I got the trailer stuff that needed to be done fixed, and I sent them that invoice. And then the shop I was at they weren't going to do the fuel tank. This was like a alignment shop. They weren't going to do the fuel tanks, so I was going to take it over to Cat. Just let them throw the fuel tanks on. But at that point, there was like the family stuff that was going on was just deteriorating really quickly, and so I just told Landstar, I was like, I'm canceling my lease. I'm not going to do this right now. Maybe I'll be back later. But I just parked the truck, and I was done trucking for a little while. So, and then I leased back on with them, and then they told me, oh, after you canceled your lease, we decided behind the scenes without telling you that you're not allowed to lease back on with us for 3 years. So that's why I got my authority, because I had actually leased back on with Landstar, hauled 2 loads for them. Lady called me. When you're at Landstar, you have like a BCO advisor, and they're like your dedicated person. It's pretty good they do it, because you don't have to talk to some random person, each time. So anytime you have a question, you can just call in and talk to them. But I'd been there so long, I didn't even know who my advisor was. But this lady calls me, and she says she's my advisor, and she knows I've been there before, and I pretty much knew how things work, so she wasn't going to bother me too much. But she told me, I was your advisor before. And I was like, oh, okay. And she said, did you take care of your, did you get the issue handled with you driving on the failed inspection? I was like, yeah, I got both fuel tanks replaced. I ended up getting both fuel tanks done for less than $6,000. Two fuel tanks plus labor for under $6,000. And Peterbilt wanted $8,000 for 1 fuel tank, just the part. But I told her, and I'd sent in, like, during the process, I had to go through the whole thing just like a brand new Landstar owner op would have. So I went through everything, and I sent them like a maintenance report and the repair invoices for, the fuel tanks and everything. And she said, well, did you get that approved? I was like, approved? I didn't even know what she was talking about. Like, what do you mean? I was like, I sent the invoices in. I mean, I had just been through it. It took a month to get leased on with them. It took a whole month. So I just spent a whole month jumping through all their little hoops and sending all the paperwork back and forth. And I sent them the repair invoices. And she's like, well, you're not allowed to lease on for 3 years. And it's only been 1 year since you canceled your lease. I was like, that's the first I've heard of that. I had no idea that was a thing. No one told me. I don't have any emails. I'd never had a phone call about that. And so I already picked up a load right out of orientation. Went up to Omaha. And then I booked another load. I booked a load from Kansas City down to Houston, or Baytown area. And when I was coming back, I was about to jump on that 8 beltway, the tollway around there, and I got a call from a lady who I'd never talked to before, but it wasn't my advisor, and I thought she was about to start crying on the phone. She was apologizing, but she told me they had to cancel my lease. And so I told her, I was like, that's fine, y'all gotta do what you gotta do, but y'all did just send me this letter. Y'all did just send me this letter that says I have 630,000 safe driving miles while I was at Landstar with no accidents or problems. Like, they sent me that letter after I canceled my lease because I needed it to get insurance. I was like, so is there no way that y'all look the other way on this deal? And she No. She said it's not them, like it's the compliance department. Like it's a real problem for companies to overrule the compliance department in trucking especially. Like even if a CEO, like if you start overruling your compliance department and then you get, like if you just let something happen and compliance said, no, that's not supposed to happen, that's not how our policy's written or whatever. And then somebody authorizes it to happen and then somebody gets hurt or something bad happens, like the attorneys are going to have fun with that. So I understand why they can't, you know, why they have to defer to compliance. I just don't like their compliance department. I've got a much better compliance department. We're more flexible. My compliance department's more like just kind of tries to support the business and help things keep moving along. But we're about to take off. Looks like that broker's going to work with us. Yeah, I don't know what the potholes look like around here, but back the other way we're leaving from, they were real bad. I mean, I'm sure at one point in history, like this was probably like the best truck stop in the whole country. Like maybe the day it opened, all shiny and new.
In a quarter mile, turn right onto Dynasty Drive.
I don't know why she's telling me to take a right. Or maybe we could take a right. I don't know. I've never gone back that way.